There's some really great mountains in Greece that have amazing ski resorts. We have winter. Kalimera, hello global locals. My name is Steve Gantzos, and I am originally from Philadelphia, born in Germany, but now currently live in Athens, Greece. So I've been here for a few months and got here to start a job that didn't really work out, so I started my own business. And I'm glad I did, because it's a really creative place where there are a lot of incentives for people to live here, to move here from different countries, from digital nomads to EU citizens, numerous visa options available by the government for different types of situations. Making a decent living and, maybe about 2,000 euros per month. So as I said, I'm originally from Philadelphia. I lived there all my life. I'm in my 50s. And I also lived in Miami for 12 years, so that was a really nice experience. But Philadelphia was always home. And I am Greek. My first language was Greek, and second language turned out to be English until I became native, fluent level speaker. No, I'm not planning to. I've wanted to be here in Europe for many, many years. And now I'm making Greece my home. So, I'm not planning to go back to the States, but I'm still a citizen. So if there was a real need for it, then there's the possibility. I would say it's very cheap compared to other European capitals and other places around Europe. I'm currently paying $400 a month. I have a lot of space with a view and a lot of light. It's basically whatever your budget is, you can find something. I would expect that less than $350 per month might need to find a housemate. But it's not impossible to find a studio or a small one-bedroom for that price. There's a lot of demand for it these days with a lot of people coming in from different countries. Well, that depends on a person's skill sets, whether they have a college degree or a master's degree. I would say roughly €1,000 per month, and you get paid based on 14 months. So you're looking at about 14,000 per year, which is not unheard of, minus taxes. If you have, skills to bring to the table, you could be anywhere between 1,200 and 1,500 or so. Skills could be language skills, they could be experience, they could be sales skills, it could be any number of different things depending on the job situation. Those who have higher level degrees, whether it's engineering or computer science or as a doctor, those professions might be looking at 3,000 plus per month. But I'm not in that category, so I don't know for sure. Take some classes in Greek. There are a lot of really good schools here. You can go to small group classes, you can do one-on-one. Do try to learn the language, it's going to get you a long way. A lot of the younger generation does speak English, so you wouldn't have too much of a problem communicating. But when you're dealing with higher level stuff, and especially with government and banking, not everyone speaks English, and it's all depending on the person's education level. Try to make friends also as much as possible. Relocating somewhere can get quite lonely. I was fortunate enough to have family here and also had made some friends over the years, so it wasn't a difficult transition for me to move here. But there are a lot of different expat organizations, both online and in person, that you can join. So, give it a try. I would say if you're looking for a new home, try to go with someone who speaks Greek. It's usually going to be the best route to go for those individuals who don't speak any Greek. If you're going shopping, you can find quite a few people who might be able to help you, let's say in line at the checkout, or if you're looking to buy something at a store. A lot of people do speak a little bit of English, so you'll be able to get by. And things are pretty well marked, supermarket stuff and department stores, you'll find things pretty well marked and also in English. Surprisingly, over the years that I've been coming here, I've been seeing a lot more signs in English, which I never ever expected in my life to see that. And I've been coming here for over 30 years. Years ago in the 80s, you didn't find any signs in English at all, so it was a complete culture shock. Nowadays, especially in the big cities, you find a lot of signage in English. Generally in professional situations like doctors, you'll find numerous doctors who speak some English, or at least understand the English if they can't find the words to communicate. I found attorneys and accountants to speak English to some level. It all depends on if those individuals have lived in other countries, and that's usually where you find the better speakers, if you will, of English. You'd be surprised, in some communities you have a lot more English speaking than others. If you go into a bakery, you probably will not find someone who speaks English. But then you might be surprised, you just never know. Generally speaking though, in the historic district of Athens and most of the historic sites, most people do speak a pretty decent amount of English. Don't be afraid to come here. English is spoken by a lot of people here, and it's common to ask for help. And people are generally very, very helpful. So if you run into me, I will help you. I think that pretty much all Greeks and non-Greeks are quite helpful here. Well, we have a lot of sun. The weather is nice. We have beaches that are just 20 to 30 minutes away from central Athens. We have a lot of terrain, so it's like, there's always something to see. A lot of really nice hiking opportunities for those into that. There's a lot of sports activities, of course, the historic district and all of the, culture surrounding that. We have a pretty amazing gastronomic community. So, you can find simple food, you can find complex food. We have Michelin star restaurants as well. So it's a pretty diverse place to live. Athens wasn't always like that, but nowadays, I find pretty much everything that I need to do the cooking that I want. There's even a small Chinatown. There's some really interesting Asian restaurants in town. So it's kind of cool to have all those varieties. I would say you can make friends if you make the effort, and those who make the effort are rewarded, just like with anything else. So I would say just put yourself out there. You'll find friends from different countries. You'll find friends from this country. You might find friends who want to learn the language that you know. So, don't be surprised if they start to speak to you, whether it's Spanish or French or English. And that's the way they want to practice. So you might be able to practice your Greek with them as well. There are numerous expat organizations online that have activities throughout the city. Also online that you can meet people. So definitely get out there and participate in some groups, some volunteer activities that you can participate in a number of different areas. So you can meet other Greeks or expats. I have participated a lot in the Facebook groups like expats in Athens, expats in Greece, foreigners living in Greece, North Americans living in Greece, or some of the Facebook groups that I'm participating in. And I found it to be really valuable resources because people in those communities like to find things, whereas Greeks tend to kind of stick to their own little neighborhood and stick to the things that they know. So it's kind of a useful resource for me, and I think it might be for you. Over the last 10 years, there's been a lot of bad press about Greece and, taxes. And you'd be surprised, people, they're paying taxes. It's as simple as that. I lived in the States most of my life. I know a lot of people who didn't pay their taxes because they had cash businesses, and there are a lot of people who still have cash businesses. And here, you just can't get away with it, at least anymore. It's very hard to, but it still happens, and it happens in every country. We can't blame one country for a big problem that occurred over 10 years ago. There's been a lot of pressure on the government to work through systems to keep people from evading taxes. Everyone that owns a business in this country has to take a credit card or a debit card for payment. That is the law, it's required, and they're required to give you a receipt. So if they give you a receipt, then they're paying their taxes. If they're not going to give you a receipt, you ask for it. But that's probably the number one challenge that I think this country has had to evolve through and face and work through. But it is getting better, and there are a lot of very good tax incentives for foreigners to live here and to move here. We have winter. Not terribly cold, for those dealing with Fahrenheit, probably evening temperatures when it's winter might be in the 40s. Daytime temperatures probably in the 60s. Right now today it is in the low 60s. This evening it's going to be high 40s. So, you want to dress warmly if you're sensitive to the cold. It's not always islands and it's not always sun and beach. We do have winter and we have skiing. There's some really great mountains in Greece that have amazing ski resorts. So if you are someone who likes to ski, I mean, it's not the Alps, but it's not that bad. So it's not just about beaches and islands. There's so much to do here. The archaeological finds are throughout the country. It's probably around the size of Florida, so getting around, could take anywhere between 6 and 10 hours, depending on where you're going. But the highway system that have been built throughout the years have made life a lot easier to get around by car. And there's also a very good bus system. There's a train that goes from Athens to Thessaloniki. But basically, Greece is a year-round country, and those who are in the know and the Greeks who live here know that you can actually enjoy a nice holiday in different parts of the country without going to a beach. So do come and visit, even if it's January, because the weather's not bad. It's probably warmer than where you're from. Certainly, the northern European countries and northern states in the United States and Canada. So do come out and experience it, because you'd be pleasantly surprised. I would say for a lot of people, the culture shock is going to be the language, because we do have a different alphabet. It's not vastly different. We do have different words, but a lot of the words that are used in English are actually Greek, and it's surprising me every day the things that I'm learning that I didn't know were just anglicized Greek words. Others might find it difficult to deal with finding a home, perhaps, because the real estate industry is quite challenging here. It could be trying to get things done efficiently, because some of the systems are not in place yet to do things online. So, but there's been a lot of change in that. So your banking can be done online. A lot of services can be done online. There's an entire government system that instead of you having to go to different offices to get something accomplished, you can actually just go into the system and you can translate it into English and work through it, which I did recently with my accountant to set up a couple things for my business. I had no clue what I was doing. He spoke to me on the phone for 5 minutes. We walked through it. I was done in 5 minutes, whereas something like that could have taken hours just a few years ago. So in a sense, that was a culture shock for me, because I wasn't expecting those efficiencies to be taking place in this country. But, it's moving along quickly. So I don't think you're going to find too many culture shocks when you get here. There's some great shopping all around town. We have outlet malls, we have designer clothing stores, we have really nice food, we have a gastronomic culture here that's growing. The other thing that most people do is they don't go up the mountains around Athens, which are pretty spectacular, and the views are amazing. Get out of the tourist zone. Go into some of the neighborhoods that might be really charming, like Kypseli or Exarchia, or go south to the south coast towns of Glyfada or Vula. We have some really fantastic beaches along the coast. One of my favorite places, it is a tourist spot, but it's a worthwhile place and it's absolutely beautiful, is the Temple of Poseidon at Sunyo. It's about 90 minutes drive from here. But along the way, you can find some really nice beaches and little tavernas along the water, and it's just really charming. Go visit some of the churches. You might find something, interesting with the church if you go to a service on Sunday, how different it is. Maybe it's similar to what you're accustomed to, how similar it is to the old Jewish way of worship and the chanting, and it's really quite interesting. You might enjoy doing that if you're into culture. Generally speaking, Greeks don't get drunk. I came from a place that drinking culture was a big thing when you go out. Here, it's more about getting together with friends and family or just meeting people. Coffee culture is a big thing here. The cafes are always busy on the weekends and even the evenings. Well, in the summer, we have outdoor cinemas all throughout the city. Cafe culture is a big deal, getting together with friends and family. Before COVID, and probably sometime in the near future, we'll see a lot more festivals. So festivals are a big deal in the summer, whether it's at churches or, all throughout the city, you'll find festivals. There are very nice nightclubs throughout the city and also along the coast. Depending on what you're into, you'll find something that you'll enjoy while you're here. So I grew up with Greek food, and so I know how to cook it. It's a part of my life, my history. But it can get boring, just like, most cuisines, if you get tired of it after a while. I like a variety of different things, and the food here is actually very nice. Raw ingredients are, I would say, fantastic, spectacular. If you go to any fish market, you are going to have really fresh fish, probably not more than a day old, if not the same day. Glistening and bright and, just really nice. The butcher shops are fantastic. The grocery stores always have nice fresh food. We have a variety of regional cuisines and regional ingredients that you should try out. So definitely go to a supermarket and experience some of the supermarkets and buy stuff and just, have a tasting. Seasonal food, the fruits and vegetables are pretty fantastic. I can't even tell you, the best oranges I've ever had in my life with flavor and sweetness. The figs are amazing. We have the most amazing figs in August and September. Pears are amazing. There's this one fruit that I bought the other day I never had before. It's called a persimmon. That's what it is, persimmon. Unbelievable. I mean, just spectacular product. So, fresh fruits and vegetables and meats that are local, they're all phenomenal. So those types of products transfer into the recipes that we have and the creativity that goes into the cuisine and to the restaurants. Do it. Don't hold back. Just do it. People are afraid of the language. People are concerned about getting around, but I think you'll be okay. I think people find it easier to transition here than probably even in Germany. So just make it happen. Find the resources. Learn some Greek. You can find some nice apps to work with on the phone. There are numerous online classes. So many different teachers. The cost of a class can be anywhere between 10 and 20 euro. So that's really inexpensive by comparison to other parts of the world for language classes. And be sure that you can actually live here. Make sure you get the visa for your right to live here before you come here. You're not going to be able to get what you need while you're here. You have to do it in advance through the consulate. So, make sure you get that visa out of the way first. Athens is a big city, and it's a city that kind of grew without very good urban planning. So because of that, you have to be careful you're walking, because you might hurt yourself. It's a real thing. While you're looking at really cool stuff, if you're going to look at something, stop. Don't walk backwards. Stop if you're going to look at something. Don't veer your attention away from what's in front of you, because you could potentially sprain your ankle. It's just a reality. You have to be careful. There's some places that have very wide sidewalks, and there's some places that have very narrow sidewalks. And sometimes it's actually safer to walk in the street, just being mindful of, what's happening in front of you and around you. That's pretty much it as far as safety is concerned. Athens is a very safe place overall. You take precautions like any other big city. So, you just do that. So I hope all of this was very helpful. If you do want to try to reach me, you can reach me through my website, which is GreekPropertyFinders.com. And I'll be happy to assist you in any way I can. Have a great day. Thank you for watching. And do join us in Greece.
Enjoy yourself. We in them roaring 20s. Must be them roaring 20s. Say la vie. Yes, indeed.